Okay, extra time. Power imbalance. Contract. Sleeping. Luck. Gambling. White hot.
Determine. More. Match. Determine. Match. Chay.
Okay, I'm in the basement. Oh, there's knives. Wait. Oh god. Ooh, okay. Oh, sorry. I always do that. Yeah, no. Maybe later. Not now. Okay, I guess I'm stuck here. I guess I have to go this way. If it's already says unlock, then it's unlocked. Kishan's footsteps echoed in a way that startled him. Were his footsteps always so loud? Perhaps it was just the contrast of the surrounding environment, which seemed to completely silent, that made his footfalls seem jarringly loud as he walked along the catwalk. He was on a catwalk. Why was he on a catwalk? There seemed to be a gaping space below him, filled with some sort of mist that he couldn't see through. It was fog-like, and yet despite the fog that lapped at his feet, the air felt so dry. The air was thick there, and he breathed heavily. Kishan felt an overwhelming sweet, sickly odor like the smell of wet or rotting wood, but all he could see around him were steel beams and a concrete path in front of him. Was it rust he was smelling? No, he knew the smell of rust. This was different. The smell was somewhat organic, like the smell of a forest after a fresh rainfall. Kishan shivered. Far in the distance, he could see what looked like a building of some sort, so far away that it made the structure he was inside feel almost tunnel-like, as if its only purpose was to convey to him that distant building. He continued walking forward, but as he walked, the building seemed to be growing more and more distant. He quickened his pace, and as he walked faster, he could feel himself moving through the thick, stifling air, yet as he looked down, he could see the texture of the catwalk in front of him unchanged, as though he were walking in place. Kishan started to walk backward, but saw only a blinding light. His eyes immediately shut, and he opened them. He was again facing into a tunnel, with a distant building at the center of his field of view. He tried turning around, but every time he tried to turn his head, his eyes involuntarily shut at the sight of the light. He was forced to close his eyes or look away, always confronted again with the sight of the small hut when he opened his eyes. His heart pounded violently inside of his chest. The tunnel was so quiet that he could hear his own heartbeat, feel his own pulse inside of his head. Something about his place felt deeply, incredibly wrong. Get back. I have to get back. He tried turning again, and this time found himself unable to even begin rotating his body toward before his eyes snapped shut and placed him again in a world of darkness, until he opened them again and was confronted with the sight of a small hut in the distance, now looking more far away than ever. I have to get back. Kishan kept facing the building and took a step forward. As he placed his foot on the ground, he felt a gust of wind knock him forward. He let out a yelp of terror. Instinctively, his hand reached out for the opposite edge of the catwalk as he fell, trying to steady himself for fear of falling off. The catwalk was wide enough that his body didn't land close enough to the edge for that to have been a risk, and yet he was looking toward the edge. He felt a growing sense of dread. There was something down there that would capture him if he allowed it to catch even the smallest hold of himself. Almost as he thought it, he felt the sensation of something pressing against his legs. He stumbled to his feet. He ran forward. The hut ahead of him seemed to grow no closer as he ran, but he ran all the same. Running not to reach destination, but to be away from whatever it was that was behind him. Moments ago, his only thought was an overwhelming desire to turn back, a worry that he was somehow trapped in here, but now, that worry was replaced with an overwhelming sense of dread that propelled him forward. He'd been pushed forward by something. Something was behind him. Kishan leaned forward and ran. He was no runner. He often felt himself winded when he forced to climb more than one flight of stairs, yet he ran and felt no sense of tiredness holding him back and no need to catch his breath. Maybe it was the thick air here that somehow never allowed him to run out of breath. Maybe it was that the fear of whatever it was behind him was that strong. Kishan felt the air stinging at his eyes as he ran. By now he was running so fast that the air felt thick like a hot wind on his face. Tears began running down his face, but he couldn't find it in him to raise a hand to wipe at his eyes. That would mean slowing his sprint. So he closed his eyes, fully aware that he was running toward a catwalk that had no handrail on either side. At this point, he didn't care. He ran and ran. Long after the tears on his face had dried, Kishan realized he could only hear the sound of his own feet as they struck the catwalk. He couldn't even hear the rush of wind, as it seemed to to buffet his face. Buffet? There were no sounds of anyone or anything pursuing him. Perhaps there was no pursuer after all. He allowed himself to open his eyes and look down. He looked over his shoulder. This time there was no blinding light, only a distant glow, like the light at the end of a long tunnel. In a way, it was the light at the end of the long tunnel, and in the observing the dim glow of the distant light, Kishan suddenly realized how far he had run. He turned around and saw the building right in front of him. It had windows that were covered with the same fog that covered the ground around him. Kishan reached the door handle. He half expected to be locked and felt a moment of panic as his handle bowed under the pressure of his hand. Was he ready to face whatever was inside that door? Did he even want to enter? Did he have a choice? What was it that awaited him inside of this building? Answers or more baffling questions? Kishan looked down the tunnel and suddenly felt cold. Whatever his place was, he needed to escape it, and the only form of egress that seemed available to him was the door of this building. He leaned on the handle and felt the door swing open. And then he stepped inside the cafe. Wow. Okay. Cellar. Who am I playing as? I don't know if I am someone or if I'm just observing right now. Let's just go on to the next one. Day 2, 5 p.m. outside the tunnel. You right? Yeah, I guess. Cool. Mind if I join you? Go for it. Durry? You want a durry? I'm sorry, Durry. Coffin nail. Cigarette. Do you want to smoke or nah? Oh, right, of course, yep, sure. It's been a weird day. Don't smoke, kids. Thanks. No worries. Were you from here then? Huh? You're the first to ask. I lived in Collingwood. Oh yeah? Whereabouts? Smith Street. Bit pricey up there these days, isn't it? Bet you like your avo toast. I've got housemates. Well, nah, I know what you mean. A bit odd, being dead and all that. Takes some getting used to. People keep saying that, but it doesn't make me feel any better. I understand. Do you? I reckon as much as anyone can, yeah. Hey, what's avo toast taste like? Huh? I've never had it. Can't you go out and just eat some? Do we sell avocado? Yeah, we sell avocado toast. Fantastic. I'm sure Maddy could whip it up if you asked. Avocados are a highly malevolent fruit. Don't trust them one bit. Plus, I've got this whole situation. Oh, that's what the straw was for. You got it. So what does it taste like? I don't know, like avocado and toasted bread. Avocado's kind of cold and mushy, but it's got a good taste. Like peas? Definitely better than mushy peas. Love me a bowl of peas, mate. Yep. What? Because they're the one thing you can eat through a straw? Watch yourself. Gonna zap me with your Death Council powers? First off, it's the Council of Death, not a Death Council. They're totally different things. Secondly, you really think that's what we do? Walk around shooting lightning out of our fingers? Well, when you put it like that, it sounds a bit silly, yeah. We don't do anything like that. We just keep things running smoothly is all. Harassing cafe owners to settle their time debt isn't something we like to do often. So you just keep the peace. As ironic as that sounds, yeah. Ned keeps the peace. Dude, I know. Want another? Sure. Jeez. Ooh, that's pretty. I love the sunrises here. They're alright. You watch many sunrises, Ned? Not enough, no. Even semi-immortals need their sleep. I just like to sit here and watch it. Even when it's cloudy or rainy, there's just something about watching the sunrise that makes it easier to deal with the coming day. Feeling optimistic all of a sudden? No, I still feel horrible. How about you, Kishan? Kishan? I don't feel great. I still have a lot of trouble. You guys, I'm dead and I've only got a couple hours left before I have to go, and I don't think anyone here really properly understands what it's like to see your last sunrise ever with any idea what comes next, and that's really terrifying. I'm never gonna see my friends or my boyfriend or my family again. I'm just gonna pass on and I'll never know how they remember me or mourn me, or even if I'm gonna be remembered as a good dude who tried his best, or I'll just be forgotten in a year. But that good dude who tried his best couldn't even win a freaking game of five-finger fillet in the basement of a cafe that basically sits on the bank of the sticks, as far as I can tell, and oh god, I can't even tell if that matters. Were the stakes low, high? I can't tell. I'm so disorientated and I'm trying so desperately to feel something, but all I feel is that I'm slipping away with every second. I'm losing myself by degrees, and that's incredibly scary, and I don't know how to deal with it. Yeah, fair cop. I actually came out to apologize for that. The game. Oh, for God's sakes, Maddy, have you been gambling again? Can it, Ned? Kishan, I shouldn't have taken that time from you. You took it fair and square. I don't feel like I did, so I'm giving it back. Believe me, I'm as surprised as you are. I don't usually do this. So what's the difference? That's my business. I can't believe you're still swindling people out of their hours to try and fix your debt. Dude, I know. It's bloody undignified. And it's clear violation of the rules. I will banish you right now, my man. I thought you'd stop pulling that crap once you took ownership of the cafe from Chay. You really think that doing this is going to help you pay this debt? Yes! Absolutely! And if you've got any bright ideas on how to do it otherwise, I'm all ears. We should have never granted you and Chay those licenses to practice. You obviously failed to be responsible with them. You really think we wouldn't be doing it if we didn't have the licenses, Bushman? Given your history, the hypocrisy on display here is outstanding. That's all behind me, and you know it. I've been working on doing some good for the last 100 years. With the council? Really? Yes, we maintain the balance. You know why that's important. Sure do. I don't need you moralizing at me from your ivory tower. Give it a rest, guys. But I'm pulling the last day on Earth card. Quit it. I'll be inside. Come find me when you want those hours back, Kishan. For what it's worth, I'm sorry about all this. I've never been to the other side. I was too afraid to leave. Walked the land for decades, evading the council. That's a crime they call revenancy, staying too long, upsetting the balance. But in lieu of booting me straight to the next place, or some sort of eternal punishment, the council offered me a job. Sorry, that's all stuff you don't care about, I suppose. It's interesting enough. No, I'm just filling up empty air. You should head inside and grab those hours back. Truth be told, I'm not feeling especially fond of Maddy right now. She might have been dishonest with you, but you and I can tell she's at the end of her rope. You might not be able to see it yet, but I think the people in there are fond of you. You think so? Maddy wouldn't have offered the hours back if there wasn't something different about you. Plus, that kid Ashley seems to like you, yeah? I guess. She kinda just dragged me off and got me to hold screwdrivers for her. Trust me, she thinks you're great. Go on, go inside and say hi. I've got some business to go stick my nose into anyway. Alright, catch you in a bit. I've got some questions about the council. Of course, I won't be out for long. Later, mate. Hey. Yo. Do you want those hours back? I guess so. It's only 4 hours. I don't think it'll make much difference. If it's okay, I'd prefer that you have them. Ashley's been enjoying having you around. Just Ashley? And me too, I guess. You seem pretty reluctant to admit that, my dude. Why does everyone say my dude? Don't psychoanalyze me. Sit still for a minute. Alright, lay your hand on mine and place your index finger on my wrist. This part of your ritual? This part of your ritual, or just an excuse to hold hands? Shut up. Thanks. Watch carefully, and no matter what you do, don't move your hand. There's usually a binding spell used to make sure this doesn't happen, but I've run out of regents required, and you probably don't care about that. True. Alright, yep. I give this time freely and without coercion. As above, so below, I maintain the balance. I maintain the balance. That's it. How do you feel? I actually feel better. I feel less itchy? Yeah, we weren't kidding about that yesterday. As you linger, you begin to upset the balance, and as I understand, it doesn't feel good. Right, yeah. Why does Ned get to stick around then? Does he just ignore it? The Council are a special case. They're more similar to demigods or demons than they are to us. That's fascinating. Tell me about it. I'd have joined ages ago, but they're uptight. They don't seem so bad to me. That's because you've not run into any of their ridiculous rules. Bunch of bloody regulations on manipulating life force and certain standards on the treatment of spirits. Is that why you gave me the hours back? Because Ned realized you broke the rules? No, that was all within the guidelines, despite his blustering. I gave them back because I felt bad, that's all. Oh, neat. So you pity me? I love that. I'm actually really into it. No, dude, it's not like that at all. No, you don't need to clarify. I get it. Seriously? Last day on Earth. Moving on. Fine, sure. Sorry, I've got to serve this customer. I'll help. Really? It's probably not a two-person job. Yep. Come on. And I'm going to count that as the end of the episode. Thank you for watching Necrobarista. I will see you in the next one.
Fish! That's what I think! I think Greg feels out. I think he'll know it was me. Do you think any of them will know it was me? How many killed? Name of science.